I call this meeting of the Board of Parks and Recreation to order. I am Michelle Cummings-Steele, Chair of the Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move now to the appeal of decisions. The Metropolitan Code of Laws. Please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review of under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney. We'll move now to the consideration of minutes. Have you all had an opportunity to read your minutes of our May meeting? Is there a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Thank you. I'll accept a second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. Metro Council referrals, Director Odom, are there any council referrals?
There are none today.
Okay, thank you. We'll move now to our public comment period. This is limited to 20 minutes total. Persons wishing to provide comment on matters that are germane to items on the agenda must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting or sign up through the sheet provided at the meeting. And so we have one today. Steve Ryder, good to see you. You have a few minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Good to see everybody, too. I'm respectfully asking for deferral of item 6-24-06. This is regarding the Nashville Downtown Partnership Pilot Program. I have some concerns. It just mentions service delivery. I don't know what that means, frankly. There's no scope of work that I see. Just for transparency purposes, the public really needs to know what this is all about. I want to mention Church Street Park because I know that the partnership plays a role in that. I have a real problem how that park is being managed. For way too long, there has been a yellow chain that has been covering areas around the grassy area. And there's a sign that says, stay off the grass. I was just there as recently as yesterday. Just so you know, I like to do outdoor yoga. I have 2 yoga mats. And I think everybody should have the opportunity to use that park if they want to go out there and do yoga. That park is only 1/4 of an acre, and half of it, for the majority of the time, is roped off for non-public use. We can't use it. Now, I don't want to have a repeat scenario of that at Riverfront Park. That park is open to everybody. I see that they want to staff it. Staff it for what? What are you going to do there? They have staff at Church Street Park, and they're going to say, oh, you can't go on the grass. Now, my question is why? Why don't you want me to go out there and practice yoga at that park? They just want to program that. So I did call the Downtown Partnership because I didn't know what was going on. And frankly, I just got a recording. So I guess I can bring it up with Tom Turner. But I would like to ask for deferral today because the public has to understand what, in fact, this is all about. Thank you so much, and good luck on your budget that's upcoming. I want to put in a word for Larisha. She got me some documents, so thank you, Larisha. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry. We'll move now to old business 05-24-08. Staff requests approval to amend the current Greenway easement agreement between Metro Parks and the developers of a proposed multifamily use development to be located at 2nd Avenue North and Van Buren Street on parcels 082-050-13400, 082-050-13900, and 082-050-14000 and 08205-01-3300 for realignment of the existing Greenway Trail. The Greenway currently runs east to west from 2nd Avenue North to 1st Avenue North, north of Van Buren Street and connecting to existing Cumberland River Greenway in Germantown. The proposed easement amendment will include design and construction, lighting, and landscaping, subject to Metro Parks design approval and maintenance in perpetuity. It's in Council District 19. The Acquisition Committee met this morning. Is there a recommendation from the committee?
Yes, the committee recommends approval unanimously.
Thank you so much. I will accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion? All in favor? The motion, any opposed? The motion passes. We'll move now to our consent agenda, and we'll take the consent agenda in its entirety. I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. We'll move now to new business 06-24-02, board to approve open range salary increase and cost of living salary increase consistent with the Metro employees for the Director of Parks as per the 2024-25 Metropolitan Government Pay Plan. A note, the mayor has recommended a 3.5% COLA and a 3% open range to the council. The budget will be passed prior to June 30th. I will accept a motion.
So move.
Is there a second? Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
Just a little bit of discussion.
Okay.
In that we need to fill positions. We've got a lot of unfilled positions, and I understand approving this, but we need to fill positions. If we're going to have budgeted positions, we need to fill them. It does no good to have budgeted positions that remain unfilled for long periods of time.
Thank you. Was there any other discussion?
I'm sorry, was I cutting somebody off? No, I would like to come back to something that I brought up last year when this agenda item came up, and it was related to understanding how parks relates to other metro departments and other cities. So what I would like to propose, and I hope it's okay for me to do this at this time, is to have somebody on our board, appoint somebody from our board to have a conversation with HR to get more data. HR has that kind of data and has access to that. I would volunteer myself, but to report back to our board to understand the equity piece and how we relate. So that would be something I'd be in favor of, I guess, adding as an agenda item.
Got it. Any other discussion? That's good. All righty, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. We're finished with discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. 0-06.
Sorry,
I made a note,
okay.
And we will.
Okay. Okay.
06-24-03, Friends of Warner Parks requests acceptance of an in-kind grant not to exceed $1,098,000 to fund the next phase of improvements in Warner Parks. There is no required match or other obligation by parks associated with this grant. No money will be sent to Metro Parks. All projects will be paid for directly by the Friends of Warner Parks. FOWP will coordinate this project with Metro Parks staff and will not proceed with projects until final written approval is provided by the appropriate park staff. This is in Council District 34. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. We're moving now to 06-24-04, Creative Parks Nashville requests acceptance of an in-kind grant of equipment approximately valued at $28,638.47 for support and expansion of the music, theater, and visual arts programs. There is no required match or other obligation by parks associated with this grant. Council district is citywide. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
All righty, we'll accept the motion.
I move to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. 06-24-05, staff requests approval for submission and ultimate acceptance of a renewal application for the Children and Adult Care Food Program, CACFP, for fiscal year 2025. This program provides nutritious meals and snacks for children attending after-school programs at 15 community centers. This is Council District citywide. This is a citywide program. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I will accept the motion.
I wanted to just ask, what a dollar amount are we talking about here, or is there a range?
Did we receive? Thank you.
I don't have the exact dollar amount, but I could email it to you. Number of kids or?
Dollar amount.
I don't have that, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And I'll just add that this is a recurring, what year of this grant are we in?
This is the third year.
The third year of the grant, okay. But we'll
Any other discussion?
No, I was going to.
Okay, we'll accept the motion.
Okay, make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. We're moving now to 06-24-06. The Nashville Downtown Partnership, NDP, requests approval of a 2-year pilot program for expanded service delivery at Riverfront Park. The service area would encompass the grounds from First Avenue on West Church Street to the north, Korean Veterans Boulevard to the south, and the general park boundary to the east. This is in Council District 19. Commissioner Henley.
Just for matter of note, I'll be recusing myself from this item.
Thank you so much. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Is there someone that we want to call to speak to the public comment?
We have representatives from the Nashville Downtown Partnership here.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Board. Thank you so much for allowing us to make a comment. My name is Casey Stern. I'm with the Downtown Partnership. I do just want to apologize that I haven't heard this concern before. I will say the chains actually came down this morning. We're really proud of some of the sod work that has been done in Church Street Park. The grass looks gorgeous. So it does periodically close for maintenance of things like that, as well as irrigation checks, just general maintenance, making sure that the park stays up to the clean, safe, active, and attractive standards of downtown. I would also say there are still public yoga classes going on, minimum 2 per week. That are offered free to the public that take place on the concrete. So if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
I wanted to ask, so I guess, let's see, I have a few questions, so I'll just ask them all at once.
Sure.
I think it would be helpful to understand what the difference is in the, I think, is it a larger territory of the park that is different from what it was before?
Yeah, so the proposal is essentially from that Church Street boundary all the way up to a Sandy Amphitheater into that back area. So we've discussed kind of how there are 2 separate parks identities, so like a Riverfront North and a Riverfront South. That's the full footprint that we're discussing.
And I'm sorry, if I might just add too, on the Metro side, this is a proposal for a pilot. Anything more formal would be in the form of an RFP to offer programming and services. And so this is for programming and some maintenance services, just to see what types of programming will work and the public would like to see at Riverfront Park. back in 2018, we had a similar pilot at Public Square Park, and it was for a season. And so we did use the permitting process. And this is a bit beyond that, a two-year pilot. So I felt it prudent for it to come to the Parks Board.
Good. Okay, thanks. The funding is coming from the planning department. It's $850,000, but there's $100,000 for capital improvements.
From the downtown partnership budget, yes.
Okay. And I think it'd be helpful to know what types of activation, could you give examples of the type of activation that you could see in this park?
Yeah, absolutely. So I apologize, I didn't introduce my colleague earlier. This is Alicia Lane. She's head of programming for Church Street Park, so I'll let her talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Hello. Typically, programming, it falls within the range of what the community really accepts. So we partner with the community, the local community that surrounds it, and we kind of test and see what works. So immediately just working with our partners in that area, live music, more yoga, fitness classes never fail. There's a lot of yoga participants. Movies typically wouldn't fall within this. I'm sorry, I'm kind of skipping on what it was. Okay. Yoga, fitness classes, live music, community dog walk days, planting classes. Typically some of the things that work in Church Street Park, kind of seeing where they'll fall in Riverfront.
That's helpful. And then just last piece on the Church Street Park. Thank you for acknowledging the reasons behind the closure. Would you clarify how long the side, I guess, was being renovated or repaired?
Yes, typically when I believe it was in March, we put the chains up around the side to ensure that it settled into the ground. And as of today, they came down because the side has settled, the grass is there, and our main priority is make sure that it's active and attractive and that it's green. That's an important part of having a green space, is that the park is utilized. We still maintain yoga on the actual concrete, the stage area, but now that it's open again, our yoga partners, which extends to local, like the library and the YMCA, we will continue more yoga just to make sure that's priority, and it is open for everyone.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I might, I'd like to add that Riverfront Park, like Church Street Park, would remain a publicly accessible space. For Riverfront Park, as you all know, that is one of our park spaces where larger events are scheduled. And so even with this proposal in place, if you were inclined to approve it, Nashville Downtown Partnership team would coordinate with our staff to make sure that events that are already reserved there, that we honor those, and that spaces, there are times that availability is still in the calendar.
Great.
I have one question.
Yes.
Is there an expectation that over the next few months that you'll need to revisit and put those chains back up for any particular reason to discontinue services?
No, typically that is a once-a-year maintenance plan to make sure that the park is green, predominantly during the summer. Over winter, the grass is really funneled by the trees so they don't get sun. So when you walk into the park, it's kind of just mud and dirt, which doesn't really give the perception of clean and attractive. So once a year, we did it in March this year to really bring it. We held it a little bit longer because there's little issues with that is our dog's favorite spot. They really like to come in, take care of their business there. And the dogs are like, hop in the chain. So we kind of just said, we opened up the borders a little bit and then we have to close it back to really get it back green. It's open now for the remainder of summer. We're anticipating things next year to change with other plans, but just once a year.
Ms. Ryder, after the presentation by the Downtown Partnership, that address your questions?
I respectfully disagree that this is just a temporary sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Steve Ryder again. I have to respectfully disagree. The chains have been up quite a while. It's not just a little sort of thing that they've just done recently. This has been ongoing for quite some time. It's not something that they just said, oh, we'll just do some stuff on the sod. They purposely go out there and prevent people from going on the grass. I'm glad to hear that they opened it up today. Yesterday, that grass was not cut. I'm telling you, that grass was high. okay? I mean, I go by that park all the time, so I'm not comfortable with this. I'm certainly not comfortable with what's going on at Riverfront Park because I don't know what they want to do. That covers a big, broad area, very big, broad area. Now, Church Street Park is just a quarter of an acre, just a quarter of an acre, and they've basically cut off access to essentially half that, which I have a problem with. I don't know what they're going to do at Riverfront Park. But I want to make sure that the public has total access and their authority, what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, that has to be specified. Their scope of work has to be clear so the public understands what they can do and what they can't do. Because they say they're working with you. If they were working with you, they would let you know that, hey, we're gonna put these chains up and nobody's gonna go out there and have access to that grass over the next 30, 60, or 90 days. They're not doing that. Otherwise, you would say, why are you doing that? So I have nothing against them coming to speak, but the representation that they made today is not my understanding, so I'm not comfortable. You need to have a scope of work and a contractual obligation, what they're going to do. You just don't do a pilot program and say, just do something, keep it clean and attractive and get back to us. That doesn't do it for me. They need to have a scope of work so the public understands what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. This is not the way business is run. This is unprofessional. I want to see something written down, what their authorities are and what they're going to do. And then I can comment on that. I can't comment on something right now because I just don't know. To say service delivery is too vague and ambiguous a term. Metro Legal would never approve something that just says service delivery. They want to know what service delivery you're going to do. Nobody does a contract that just says service delivery. Thank you very much. I'll let it go at that.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion from the board? One point of clarification, with the closing in March and opening today, that was communicated with you mentioned with the residents in that area. How was it communicated? Was it communicated?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just say we've had an excellent relationship with both Metro Parks. The Metro team, we look to them for leadership quite a bit. We look to, and we do have a contract existing on Church Street Park, so that is really well defined in our scope of services for that particular park. We have an excellent relationship with the park staff, and we communicate very regularly with both horticulture, with events and programming, and with the residents. They're there every day. Alicia's there every day. I'm there every day. Like we're really integrated with the community, so our staff is fully aware. And if there's more public communication, we're certainly open to that.
So you're in the area, but are you intentionally reaching out with notice that it would be closed, gated off, for that period of time?
So not for like a social media post or anything like that, but it's certainly socialized to the residents. This is something that we've done both years that we've been in the park. And again, as Alicia said, like it is a seasonal caretaking responsibility that we have to the park. There's signage that the lawn is closed. And again, we have staff in the park from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single day.
I wanted to ask, in reference to legal, if this went to an RFP, how would the scope change in the language of the services delivered?
So if there's an RFP put out by the Parks Department would define a scope of work. They would work with the purchasing department on fine-tuning that scope of work. Interested parties would submit their proposals for what they would like to do for this particular project. Someone would be selected and a contract would be negotiated.
Is there any other discussion? All righty. So where am I? We're on 06-24-06. Is there a motion?
I'll motion approval.
Motion for approval. Is there a second? Any other discussion?
I guess I would be interested in amending approval to add language that would clarify the scope of work in the pilot project.
Okay.
I'll second that modification.
Amendment, thank you.
Okay, I just have a question. Is there something that you all are wanting to see that you have not seen? I just want to make sure that the legal department and the parks department can provide the board whatever additional documentation it is that you're seeking.
I guess this is in a little bit of a pilot project has less stringent requirements from Metro, it sounds like. So I think I'm interested in clarifying what the services would be in the scope of work for the partnership.
So are you looking for something to come back to the board at another day? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what it is that you're looking for.
Thank you for clarifying. That's a good question. Yes, I would be comfortable. Well, okay. Sorry. Now that I think about it, that sort of lends itself to deferral because that would require it coming back to the board for us to understand what the scope of work is.
So currently with this work, they work with the department. And so our attorney is asking, is it okay for that scope of work in the pilot project for them to work with the department so that we don't defer and come back? So they work closely with the department on the scope of work, giving, that information.
I think given the fact that the person raising these topics is asking for transparency, I would say in this case, I would go towards deferral so that it comes back and there's an opportunity for us to understand exactly what the scope of work is.
So my hesitancy in my face that you started laughing at was that we have a motion on the floor with an amendment and now deferral.
I understand.
And I am confused in my head on Robert's Rules of Order where I need to go.
Okay, thank you.
Which was my face.
Okay.
The original maker of the motion can withdraw their motion.
So my comment outside of Robert's Rules of Order, but just generally my comment is, we've got a citizen who expressed concern. One of the things I think it's important for us to do as a parks board and a parks department is be sensitive to the community and how the community feels about all these things. We heard representations that everybody in the community is happy as a clam with all this, but are they? How do we know that? Who have we asked? What has led us to that belief that people are excited and pleased with the way this is working?
Which is my hesitancy because I want to make sure that on the record, Robert's Rules of Order, that I get this right. And so it's not that I'm not saying move on with it and hear Steve. I'm saying I got 3 different things and I need to make sure that the record is correct. So would you like to?
I withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
We need to withdraw an amendment.
Well, if the original motion is withdrawn, there's no
Then
amendment.
there's no amendment. Thank you, Lacey. And now we have a motion to defer.
I make a motion to defer this for one meeting.
Thank you so much.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Do you want me to keep going? Councilman Coupin, I recognize your presence here today. I just looked up. Are you here on a specific item or do you want to address the board? I want to give you an opportunity. If you have a comment regarding this item, we would love to hear it as we go into deferral.
Sure.
Thank you. I don't know how you thought you were going to do that.
Tried to hide all the way in the shadows, but it wasn't deep, far enough back. No, appreciate y'all's consideration of this, and I know good to see Mr. Ryder. He and I have had a lot of conversations about the riverfront, and certainly appreciate the commitment for transparency. I actually didn't get to hear the top half of that conversation. But did want to share that the Church Street Park, at least, that the Downtown Partnership has been managing, we've gotten great feedback from residents, neighbors, businesses, visitors, really enjoying what their services and what they've provided in that downtown space. And I know there's a lot of people very excited for Riverfront Park to have the Downtown Partnership step in and help manage in this pilot program. It's an area that's important to me. Access to the river is really important. Activation of the river is important. So to have that park become something that the Downtown Partnership is working on is very exciting. So, encourage y'all to support it. I know that there's some questions about transparency, and I always want to make sure that the community is understanding of what's going on and what the details are. But I do want to share my support.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Thank you
you
for that perspective.
Appreciate it.
We did vote to defer, and so we'll have it again on the agenda at our next meeting in July.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move now to 06-24-07. Staff requests approval to accept a proposed dedicated conservation greenway easement as part of self-storage development to be located at 304 Oldham Street on parcel 082-1101-5000 as part of the project's approved preliminary SP rezoning. The easement is 0.1554 acres, and this is in Council District 5. We're going to defer this to the Acquisition Committee. We're moving now to special presentations, Community Affairs Division, to present an annual update to the board. And we have Jackie Jones. Jackie, you have 7 minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Steve, can I get you to get the lights? So my name is Jackie Jones. I'm Superintendent of Community Affairs for what I think is one of the best park systems in the country, and that is Metro Parks. So with that, let's get into it. Community Affairs encompasses a variety of responsibilities, including constituency services, volunteerism, special events, media, social media, our website on nashville.gov, and of course our newsletter. Let's talk a little bit about constituency services. Constituency services consist of hub requests, public records requests, requests and inquiries from the Metro Parks mailbox, of which we get quite a few, requests for speakers, requests for involvement with community and neighborhood events, and of course, requests for info via landline and snail mail. So let's go back to public records requests. I serve as a custodian for public records for the department. Over the last year, we received about 47 public records requests. Some are fairly simple. Others are more complicated. We have requested information can range from anything from how much is the utility bill at a particular facility to more detailed information about the department's budget. Let's talk a little bit about HUB. From May of last year to May of this year, we received over 1,000 requests for a variety of things through HUB. We received requests for maintenance, requests for park police patrols, community center information, and so on. What's important to note is 90% of the requests that we get goes to maintenance or for maintenance. The other 10% is spread throughout the various divisions. Let's talk a little bit about volunteerism. We have a number of organizations seeking volunteer opportunities with parks, and those groups can range anywhere from 4 to 300 people. Every volunteer group must sign a liability waiver, and the most popular volunteer activity is a park cleanup. We have national groups like T-Mobile, who recently assisted the Arts Center in their event, one of their signature events, the Starry Night event. We've had National Volunteers, the Mission Continues, which is a veterans group, as well as local groups, churches, sororities, civic organizations, that type of thing. Our volunteer hours from this May to last May has been approximately 300 hours in volunteer service. Special events, from concept to run of show to cutting the ribbon, we do it all for the opening of a park or for the opening of a new facility. Some of the more memorable events that resulted in saturated media coverage have been the ribbon cutting for Ravenwood Park, the ringing of the bell at Mill Ridge Park, the 50th anniversary celebration of the Centennial Arts Center, and the unveiling of the historical marker in Centennial Park for the infamous swimming pool. So let's talk a little bit about media. We've been very fortunate in that over the years we've had fairly good media coverage. Now, of course, we've had our moments like all departments do, but we have a good reputation, and this board can take that to the bank for being responsive, for being transparent, and being forthcoming. We have a lot of solid stories coming out of this department. And the challenge for the department and for me as the superintendent of community affairs is telling those stories in a timely manner. One such story that happened last year that really took off. It had legs of its own. We did what we called Bridging the Gap, timely advice for Metro Parks youth and seniors. And what that was young people gave advice to older people, and the older people gave some advice to younger people. You can see there on the screen, that is Maureen, age 71. Her advice for the younger generation is to stay active. Floyd, who is now 7 years old, his advice to the older generation is to just be kind to everyone. That's some good advice. Ava, her advice to the older generation, do what you love. And Cedric, who is over, I believe, at the Smith Springs Community Center, said, bestow on your enemy much kindness. And then we have Beverly. Her advice is be yourself, do you. And then we have Miss Corey. And her advice to the older generation is take a day for yourself. That was an entire series, and what it garnered for the department was coverage, saturated coverage from 3 different media outlets, as well as coverage on our local daytime talk shows. So that was a win for us. Here's a very, very brief collage of just some, not all, just some of the stories that were published and aired over the last 12 months. Well, it's always something, right? Here we go. These are just some of the stories. Now, the things that you see on the screen there does not include stories that we've had in trade publications and that type of thing. That is one of the latest stories from the New York Times about the return of artifacts by the Parthenon to its country of origin. So now, let's talk a little bit about social media, if you will. or as some people call it, the Wild Wild West. The social media has been a useful tool to help us engage with the community. We're on Facebook. We have approximately 10,000 followers on Facebook. We're also on what is formerly known as Twitter, X. We've got a little over 3,000 on our X account. And we're on Instagram as well, and we are approaching about 4,000 people. What we're trying to do is to build an audience on all of these platforms, and the challenge is curating content. And if you are on social media a lot, it's more than just sharing a story. You want to create content that speaks to your various constituencies. So we're working on that. But to that end, as far as social media is concerned, we have developed within the Department of Social Media Policy, and that social media policy is designed to give all of our facilities some guidelines as to what should be published, and also it helps protect us from having pages hijacked. We also have a newsletter. Our newsletter goes out to about 22,000 folks on a monthly basis, sometimes on a bi-monthly basis, depending on how much information we have. We also have an internal newsletter. It's called Team Parks, and it is basically, it shares the good news, if you will, for individual employees and for various divisions. Well, the website, Nashville.gov. So I'm going to be honest, I have a love-hate relationship with our website, and I think most of the people who work with me know that. But I'm going to leave it at that. But nevertheless, there are some very interesting website analytics that I think would serve you well to know. 60% of the people that come to the Metro Parks website, they access our page through their cell phones. 38.9% of our users use desktop computers, and only 1.1% access our website with their tablets. The average engagement time is about 54 seconds, which indicates to me that they are probably looking for something very specific. Now, this is one of my favorite things right here. And as you can see, I'll speed it up. We are in the top 10 as far as page views are concerned within Metro. As you can see, the police is number 1, Parks is number 2. Then it goes down to Water, County Court, County Clerk, the Election Commission, Health Department Codes, NDOT Fire, and Finance. So you should be very proud that we are in a number 2 position. Now, that could change, and oftentimes it does change depending on the season that we're in. But, of course, right now we're in park season, so people are looking for various recreational opportunities. Now, our top 10 with divisions within the department, when people go on our website, the top 10 divisions are, I shouldn't say division, but the top 10 facilities are the Parthenon, Centennial Sportsplex is number 2, Wave Country is number 3, Centennial Park is number 4, Harpeth Hills is number 5, McCabe number 6, Two Rivers Golf Course is number 7. Activity schedules from our community centers is number 8, Ted Rhodes Golf Course is number 9, and of course we have Warner Parks coming in at number 10. So that pretty much concludes my report. Excuse me. I would like to remind you that July is Parks and Recreation Month, and I hope you as board members will help us celebrate that month here in the city. So any platform that you have, be it on social media or if you have a department newsletter, we would really appreciate you sharing the fact that July is Parks and Recreation Month and all of the good things that this department has to offer. Even if it's just a line in your email, in your signature line in your email that says July is Parks and Recreation Month. Every little bit helps. This year's theme is Where You Belong. So parks departments all across the United States will have that theme. We are going to utilize that theme to share the good news about our programs, about our staff, and about our facilities. Now, I'm going to wrap this up in just a minute. Some of you may be familiar if you're on social media, and I know a couple of you are on social media. You're familiar with the Of Course videos. And here's one of the videos that we plan on doing as part of Parks and Recreation Month. It is a rough cut, so keep that in mind.
Oh, it's very rough. There's no sound.
Well, I don't know what's happening with the sound. Well, I'm
It's
sorry.
cute so far.
Well, huh?
Where will the video appear? It'll be on the website?
This video will be on all of our social media
social media.
pages.
Okay.
And like I said, that was a rough cut. I wish you could have heard the sound. Our staff did a great job, and I would like to give a shout out to Anthony Cooper at McCabe Community Center. He did a great job in terms of doing that. So I know my time is up, and I thank you for yours.
Oh, Jackie, it's up. If we can get it to play, if we can get the video to play, team, we can do it at the end for those that want to see it. There is a question, Jackie, from Susanna Scott.
Thank you for an amazing presentation. I've always been really impressed with what comes out of your division, and I have always wanted to ask the question, how many people are in your division? Because you do a lot, and I'm worried you don't have very many people to do it.
Well, right now, historically it's been a one-person division. However, starting on June 10th, we will have a young lady coming in, and we're very happy to have her. And she will be serving in the public information representative role. But even though it's always been a one-person shop, these are my team members. Stefan Nellums, Shanita White, John Holmes, Wayne Evans, Cindy, Joe Stovall. These are my team members. I know Phil Luckett is back there. He talks to me every day. And he usually goes like this when he's passing by my office door because he knows I usually have a question that's come in through Hubs. But that's my team. These are the people that make it happen.
You confirmed my hunch. Thank you. Thank you so much for what you do for the department.
So we'll get to meet your new employee?
Yes.
Good. Bring her by next month. Thank you, Jackie. Moving now to Friends of Sevier Park to present their annual update to the board. Melanie Moran, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Melanie Moran. I'm president of Friends of Sevier Park, and I've been here once before when we first got started. My update is on your desks. I don't have any slides today. Let's see. So since I was here, we've really spent our first year just getting our house in order, getting our bank accounts straightened out, transitioning from the previous leadership. We've elected a new board, 8 new board members, so we have a total of 11 engaged board members. We have a new logo, which you can see on the handout. Was the work was done by a professional designer and donated by one of our board members. We finalized our mission statement, which is in alignment with the charge that Friends groups have across the city. I won't read it out loud, but you can see that we're dedicated to the protection and promotion of Sevier Park and its enjoyment by all Nashvillians. For this first year, really worked on building positive relationships with park staff, Metro Council, the Parks Foundation, the Historic Commission Foundation, the Community Center staff, and our local neighborhood associations. We worked in partnership with the park staff to request improvements to the park shelters and picnic tables that were completed and are fantastic. As I believe I reported last time, we purchased, with your approval, a water fountain for the Sevier Park Community Center that fills bottles for all the users of that center. We are sponsoring the Metro Historic Commission Foundation's event this Thursday night at Sunnyside Mansion in Sevier Park. We've been holding monthly board meetings, and just want to give, while I'm here, a very special thanks and shout out to Joe Stovall, Sean Alexander, and Jim Hester with Parks. Been absolutely incredible. Joe has come to almost every single one of our meetings, responds to every email that I send almost like as soon as I send it. He's been an absolutely amazing partner, so we couldn't be more grateful. And also, Councilmember Tom Cash has come to almost all of our meetings and has also been a great supporter and advocate for us. So our next steps is to come out to the public once again that Friends of Sevier Park is back and ready to advocate for our park. And we have the great opportunity to capitalize and work with the Historic Commission on the launch of Sunnyside, the ribbon cutting at the end of this month. So we're thrilled about that. Have worked closely with the Historic Commission. We were there for our board meeting last week. And it's just an amazing, Sunnyside's amazing, as you all know, and the renovation is incredible. So we're excited to tell its story and get more people to engage with the park in this new way, really, the history that's there. We'll be volunteering and sponsoring refreshments at the ribbon cutting on the 29th. And then lastly, the other thing that we've spent time this year doing is setting some fundraising goals for the next 3 years. You can see those. They include smaller things like more benches in the park that we wanted to help fund, more trash cans, replacing the existing soccer goals, and the big ticket item, which would be require a big fundraising push by us, is to complete the trail system that's on the master plan through the park. And we've been exploring that, talking a little bit with Parks about what that could take. But that would be our biggest fundraising goal. And then at the same time, the community center has several needs that we'd like to help support through supplies, improvements, and then really programming for all the kids that come through there in the summer. The hundreds of kids that the center serves every year. So that concludes my report. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the board? Thank you, Ms. Moran. We appreciate it. We'll move now to Creative Parks Nashville to present their annual update to the board. It's Michelle Crane.
Hello, I'm Michelle Crane. I'm the president of Creative Parks Nashville. Thank you for approving our request earlier. So Creative Parks Nashville provides community-based leadership to Metro Nashville Parks and Recreation's music, theater, and visual arts divisions, making the arts accessible to all Davidson County residents. CPN's profit and loss report shows our best numbers since the inception of CPN in 2017. With CPN's support, our Metro Arts divisions were able to supplement 37 additional workshops with 752 students. CPN's fundraising efforts gave the Visual Arts Division the opportunity to provide 6 free programs to 187 students. In addition, CPN's efforts provided 6 inclusive art classes for adults with or without disabilities. CPN's fundraising also assisted the music division in providing 10 free jam band classes and performances, serving over 105 students. Whoops. I skipped over. Oh, there we go. Our summer concert series is in full swing with the iconic big band dance every Saturday night in the summer, as well as Tales at Twilight in the park in July and the Red Caboose concert series every Friday in June. CPN assisted the theater division in providing 8 free theater classes for 156 students, as well as the wildly successful Little Mermaid Junior in April at the Louis Theater. I don't know if anybody got to see that, but it was sold out. Yeah, wasn't it great? Okay, let's see. We currently have 2 summer jam band camps in June and are accepting registration. In addition, we have a variety of summer theater camps available, teaching both the theater production, acting, and technical skills. We held our 3rd annual Starry Night event at the CAC on April 27th, where we had over 450 people in attendance, 7 corporate sponsorships, and featured a silent auction, art gallery, live painters, highlighted musical and theater performances from past and current students. And these are a couple of pictures of our Starry Night event, which was really beautiful. So thank you to the Metro Parks Board. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Ms. Crane.
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead.
you.
Wait, we do have one. Shay has a
okay.
question. I'm sorry.
In relation to the musical camps you all are doing, is that only for youth or are adults welcome to participate?
I think we do have some, do we have some adult?
We have adult classes.
Classes.
Fall and spring.
But I think the
Camps are just for the
Camps.
for the children. So, thank you.
Do you need a camp opportunity, Mr.
I
Foster?
do. I play guitar and piano, so I'm
I
looking
love
for
it.
opportunities to engage.
We can find that opportunity for you. There's a Starry Night at, okay. Capital Project. Capital Projects update, Joe Stovall.
Hello, good afternoon. You have your sheet in front of you. I got the highlighted stuff in there from last week. I'll go over some of the highlights for you. Proud to say that Bordeaux Gardens, the playground shelter, as of this morning, is open to the public. As of last week, Fannie Mae D's playground is open to the public. Centennial, the phase 3 of the master plan, we're still looking towards the middle of end of June to get in the bid time frame for that. As of last week, I have started a complete renovation on the band shell, and that should be completed around the 15th of July. So excited to get that asset back in service for us. Fort Negley, we are reviewing the 50% design. We should have that done in the next 2 weeks. Madison Station, we had a great community event last Tuesday at Madison Community Center. We had about 10 or 15 folks and had fantastic discussion with them. Mariposa, we also have the 90% design under staff review and should have that completed in 2 weeks as well. Old Hickory, as of this morning, we have a completed contract with the contractor. So hopefully within the next week or 2, you'll see the demo starting on site. So very excited about that. Very excited to deliver that to the community there. As Melanie said earlier, the Sunnyside Mansion restoration, the grand reopening event is on the 29th of June at 10 a.m. They'll also be giving tours, I think, shortly thereafter until about 1 o'clock. And then Trinity Hills, we also had a community outreach at Hartman Community Center last Thursday. And again, we had about 10 to 15 people and great conversation with those folks as well. So very exciting. And then on the second page here, you'll notice that I've put in all the mayor's participatory budget projects. Say that 10 times fast. And we're making great progress. Most, if not all, of the playgrounds that are to be replaced, the designs have been submitted and are being reviewed by my staff. And with that, any questions? Exciting times.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor's Parks PB budget projects FY24, are these projects under here? Is that something else?
Those are all those 6 Timothy, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Timothy, McFerrin, Coleman,
Got it.
Dudley, Antioch, and Southeast.
Okay, it's just the way the heading was. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Stovall. We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Greenways open space update, Cindy Harrison.
Hello. Greenways are popping. If you haven't been out there in between the rain, I encourage you to get out. Everybody's out enjoying those. The Whites Creek Greenway at Hartman Park, you've heard me mention that for several meetings now. We had our first public meeting this earlier in May, and a great turnout, really good questions, a lot of enthusiasm for this greenway that's already popular from Mullins Park to Hartman. One of the interesting things was I think how much people knew about the possibilities for this greenway to even go beyond this segment. There are two developments happening further north on Whites Creek that sets up the opportunity for some really meaningful future extensions. But right now, we're focusing on that Hartman to Buena Vista and taking the comments that we got from the community and applying those to the project. And now we're doing all the kind of behind the scenes quiet work with utility companies and permitting and all of our due diligence to get that project moving forward, but stay tuned. The Charlotte Railroad Trail, also a lot of behind the scenes happening there with continuing to work with the railroad, the CCRA railroad, to utilize their right-of-way for placement of our trail. So working with them to establish an easement agreement that works for everyone. One thing to note about that greenway is right now that the greenway is in an area that currently allows development really close to the railroad tracks there. And one of the things that the benefits that the greenway will bring is a designated place for people to walk, whereas right now they're kind of all over the place. It's a little bit of, so that's, I think, a benefit that people don't always think about. And in this case, just having a safe place for people to be in an area where they're already kind of moving through is important to know. Sevier Park, the greenway from the community center to Browns Creek Park, it's in permitting. While the permitting process is going on, we're finishing the lighting design and the boardwalk design and handrails and all of that. So that continues on. The 440 Greenway outside of our door, that connects down to Centennial Park. The last few items on that are finalizing lighting and then coordinating with Joe's group on the Centennial Park Phase 3 plan at the signage monument walls that will happen on both sides of 31st Avenue to kind of create a small gateway into the park and unify. I think a lot of people may not know all the time that the dog park is part of Centennial Park, and having the greenway come through and that continuity of design details, I think, will be an amenity and help folks understand where they are and where the park extends. Two developer-driven projects that I just continue to update on because they're moving through the design process is the Harpeth River Greenway at Ariza Bellevue, and we've been working with NDOT closely to coordinate our trail and the NDOT facilities that will be coming in, and as well as coordinating with the developers. This greenway includes an underpass under the existing railroad, so it's a little bit complicated beyond the normal just grade greenway, and it has some requirements from the railroad. So we're working to make sure the developer meets all of those. The developer is designing, building, and handing this project over to us along with 20 acres of open space. But we approved the design, so we're in the mix pretty heavily. And then Bellmead Plaza, the Richland Creek Greenway extension, has been working its way through the Stormwater Management Committee variance process, and we stay involved in that as well to make sure that as the design progresses, it stays in line with what the expectations were set up during the preliminary SP approval, and it continues to be a public benefit there. So, and a really amazing public benefit. So we'll continue to work with those. Again, that one is being designed and developed and maintained by the developer as an end product, but it has to meet all of our design approvals along the way. And then participatory budgeting, we actually have a greenway this time, and it's a section of the 7 Mile Creek greenway that is unpaved at the moment. People are using it, but this will pave that and get it up to the standards of the rest of the greenway there. Happy to answer questions.
Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you.
We'll move now to upcoming special activities and events. Jackie Jones. Now, you've already gone into some of your time.
I'm going to make this real quick. So
Take your time.
So the month of June is going to be filled with movies, music, markets, and more. I'm not going to get into the details, but let me just tell you what we have going on. We have farmers markets scheduled at Bellevue, Richland, and 12th South. We have Juneteenth celebrations at Frankie Pierce Park, Hadley Park, and Shelby Park. We have movies in the park. We have the outside cinema scheduled at Mill Ridge Park and the Nashville Scenes movies in the park on Thursdays at Elmington Park. We have free music concerts throughout the park system. They include the Nashville Symphony, who's scheduled to perform at Smith Springs Community Center on June 9th. Then, of course, we have Musicians Corner, the Red Caboose Concerts, the Big Band Dances, and Tales at Twilight. In addition, we have Jazz on the Cumberland, which is scheduled for June 16th. And we have a new feature, Jazz in the Park, at Hadley Park, and they have an award-winning jazz lineup for that particular concert. We have the Cornelia Air Park concerts from 6:30 to 9:30 at Shelby Bottoms on June 8th. And finally, my personal pick is the International All-Breed Canine Show on June 15th at Shelby Park. It's a very different type of dog show.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. As you all hear every month and have already heard, there's a lot going on in our park system. And I will just start out by encouraging you all to get out and get involved and enjoy some of these activities, even if it is something passive that you like to do. Cindy mentioned getting out to the Greenway. That's a great place to blow off some steam, I'll tell you. So please make yourselves available for any of these projects or our facilities. My report will be fairly brief, but I did want to thank all of you all who came with us to give at our council budget hearing on May 23rd. Thank you so much for your attendance. That show of support meant so much. It really, really did. And just to continue on with the budget, as you all do know, the council is charged with passing a budget by June 30th. They are kind of in the phase of, I think, making the sausage. If they recommend anything other than the mayor's suggested budget, which is a status quo budget at this time. We received an allocation of $12 million in capital funding. It's from the one-time excess surplus funding, and that funding specifically is for sports courts, paving, playgrounds, and athletic fields. And so we are pleased to have received that funding. Phil and his team are already moving through that money. It will go a long way across the park system in every area of the county. Our summer enrichment program started yesterday. Steve is still standing. He hadn't passed out yet. So, but that program got a great kickoff, and it will go through the end of July. And also, we have a fully executed contract for the renovation of Brookmead. And so I think Phil and his team had a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and so we will begin to probably see some movement in that later this month in terms of the reno with more activity picking up as the summer continues. And then finally, well, not finally, but I would just like to take this opportunity to remind everyone in our audience, you all, and watching wherever you are, that this is parks and recreation season. If you are outside, you know temperatures get elevated and hot at this time. Encourage people to stay hydrated, to take frequent rest breaks, to delay any activities that you need to because of the heat, to wear light clothing, and then too, if you see something in the park, we rely on community members to help be our eyes and ears. Jackie talked about hub requests and calls to the department. We really rely on that. So if you see something, say something. Certainly, if it is an instance where you need to use hub, then do that. If it's an incident where you need to use the non-emergency MNPD number, do that. And of course, by all means, if it's 911, use that. We want people to be safe in our parks and greenways and facilities and to come back. But please be conscious and aware of your surroundings at all times. And I will finish by, again, reminding you that July is Parks and Recreation Month, and we will be excited to celebrate that and hope you will help us celebrate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is there a target completion date for Brookmead Park?
Probably by January. Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you. We're going to move now to announcements, requests for future agenda items, and open items. Commissioner Scott Barnes spoke about the HR data equity piece and how we relate to other departments. I will take that assignment and report back, depending on HR's response rate at the next meeting or the following. And so I'll take that on. Yes, I am.
You're volunteering yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Want to do 2 announcements. A special thanks to Commissioner Cruz Johnston, Commissioner Cheryl Mays, and I want to thank me. I just been wanting to say that. I want to thank me for answering the call to work with our council people as it relates to our budget. When we come back next month, that budget will be passed, and I want to echo Steve in saying good luck to us for in that budget process. There's still time to do some of that work, and so if you did not take an assignment, we would ask that you do to reach out to council members and advocate for Metro Parks. I want to say thank you to Steve Nellums for partnering with me on a research item with Meharry Medical College, our Center for Health Policy, in that we are looking for youth voice on some future youth programming that I think will benefit our Metro Parks as well. And I think that was all of my notes. That's all of my notes. Are there any other items that need to be added? Any other announcements? Thank you so much. Are we keyed up for the video? Let's see that.
We're Metro Parks. Of course we have the best music. We're Metro Parks. Of course we have the best music, theater, dance, and visual arts classes.
We're Metro Parks. Of course our greenways are scenic, expansive, and connect.
We're Metro Parks. Of course we have the best fitness, tennis, aquatics, ice rink, and pickleball facilities. For Metro Parks, of course we design, plan, and build the best parks in Nashville.
For Metro Parks, of course we have the best after-school and summer enrichment programs.
For Metro Parks, of course our maintenance crew is responsive, attentive, and gets things done.
Thank you so much, Board. There is one additional thing that I forgot to announce. We need to, Commissioner Scott Barnes needed to leave, but there's one thing that that we'll need to add a meeting for, and that's our ad hoc sponsorship committee that was brought up several meetings ago, and Commissioner Scott Barnes wanted to ensure that we got that done, and she is chairing, so we will be scheduling a meeting to make sure that that happens. If there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn. I apologize.
No worries. I just want to send a quick reminder. It is CMA Fest week, and we have a couple of our high schools who will be performing for CMA Fest this year. So I'm super excited about that.
Absolutely.
So everybody get out and support our high schools. It's Cane Ridge High School, Stratford High School, and Antioch High School. We'll all be performing at CMA Fest. So
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We will adjourn. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Be safe.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.